So Nancy Mace, who seems like a real joy to be around, has introduced an amendment. And guess who the target is? That's right, the transgender community.
This is the second of five, only five, and I think there should be more amendments regarding gender-affirming care, trannies, you name it. Castration is not a mistake, by the way. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to say that castration is health care, and there's nothing more dehumanizing than going after the trannies out there. One recently shot 2 young school children in Minnesota. It is a mental illness, and it needs to stop, and we can stop it in our military right now. So this amendment, in last year's NDAA, we took the important step of banning TRICARE from covering medical interventions to treat gender dysphoria, which would result in the sterilization of children.
After watching that, I'm happy I'm not married to her. And I'm also happy that Representative Sarah Jacobs puts her in her place.
I would just like to point out that I think it's very interesting that my colleague from South Carolina is so obsessed with the issue of trans people, using horrible slurs to talk about them, when many people in this body have received gender-affirming care. Filler is gender-affirming care. Boob jobs is gender-affirming care. Botox is gender-affirming care. Lots of my colleagues have received gender-affirming care, and let me be clear, I think everyone should have access to the gender-affirming care that they need, and I think we should respect everybody in this country. With that, I yield back.
Ridiculous. You are absolutely ridiculous.
Lady is not recognized. Order. The House will be in order. The gentlelady and the gentleman will suspend. The House will be in order.
That's right. Congress is Botoxed up, and some of them are upset that other people might be getting gender-affirming care. And Representative Adam Smith goes even further.
First of all, I want to thank the maker of this amendment for making it clear what the problem is. Trannies, mentally ill, insulting transgender people. This is exactly what these amendments are about. It's about a right-wing culture war to try to target the transgender community and make them something less than human. And if you listen to those comments, you get a feel for why that's a problem. Number two, this amendment doesn't have anything to do with transgender people serving in the military. Now, President Trump has already implemented that bigoted discriminatory policy to drive them out of the military. This is about health care for children experiencing gender dysphoria. And what this amendment does is it bans that health care treatment for children experiencing gender dysphoria. I've made a series of arguments on the other amendment about why that is such a bad idea. But the bottom line is this is a legitimate problem. And the studies have often shown that this is beneficial treatment that is now being denied by the United States Congress. This is something that doctors and patients should decide. You know, if we wanted to offer an amendment saying, please look at this issue, here's some studies on one side or the other, ask the medical community to reach their conclusions, that's one thing, but banning it doesn't make sense.
So that point is true. This is the government telling you what to do rather than letting the parents and the patient and the doctor make the decision. And then Sarah Jacobs comes back with another point.
Trans people, including trans service members, deserve basic human dignity and common decency of safely using the restroom. But besides that, let's take the gentle lady's point at face value. She wants to protect women. Great. So do I. Bathroom bans do not protect women. The Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law even did a study on it. And there is zero evidence that allowing trans people to use the correct bathroom increases the risk to others. In fact, it's actually opposite. We have seen that cis women are harassed when people try and enforce or decree bathroom bans. Earlier this year, at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Minnesota, a server followed a teenage girl into the women's restroom and demanded she prove she was a girl. When the server didn't believe her, she unzipped her hoodie to show she had breasts. That is the actual reality of bathroom bans and even the idea of bathroom bans: harassment, discrimination, and body exams. We don't need service members acting like vigilantes to enforce this policy, either by surveillance, profiling, or physical inspections. Our service women go through enough. We shouldn't be inviting even more harassment. And we don't need this amendment opening up the Pentagon and the entire US government to a massive lawsuit. This isn't good policy. This doesn't protect women. This is based on misinformation, and I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Well, that's just disgusting. What is this, the TSA for puberty? What is going on with people? Why is it any of your business how anyone else deals with their own sexuality? How does it affect you in any way? How does it affect your life? And don't give me this mambo jumbo that Nancy Mace and some of these right-wingers are saying that, oh, well, those are all the mass shooters are transgender. No, they're not. Most of the mass shooters are other people with mental health issues, but they're not transgender. And the problem is that the right has convinced many people in America that this is the issue they should be worried about. Don't worry about the prices of groceries going up. Don't worry about the effect the tariffs are having on employment, and don't worry about ICE deporting people that are working. Don't worry about your rights being taken away by taking away late night talk show hosts' rights to say what they want. Don't worry about any of that. What you need to worry about is the transgender issue. The fact that someone has body dysphoria and might consider having a sex change. And by the way, there's a process. Remember Donald Trump in the election? He said, "Oh, these kids, your kid, you can go to school as a boy and come back as a girl." That's not how it happens. That's as silly as this comment that immigrants are eating cats and dogs. And yet, we are living in a country that's so stupid that some people actually believe that. Somehow, transgender people have become the biggest threat to a portion of our population. And the fact is, the transgender people are like about 1% of the whole population. They tell us that, oh, they're trying to convince people to become trans. No, they're not. The only people that are trying to convince you to do anything are evangelicals. That's their whole given job. And there's tens of millions of them. Every time you go to a hotel, there's a Bible in the nightstand trying to make you Christian. I've never seen a brochure in the nightstand trying to make me transgender. I've never seen that. And yet Nancy Mace and other hateful human beings that somehow ended up in Congress are trying to take away the rights of a group that's a minority. This whole thing about the whole bathroom and the threatening of, if you have a transgender bathroom, it's going to be threatening to women. And no, it's not. The facts don't stack up. They just come up with these stories and they find one anecdote and they go, that's what it is. That's not what it is. Where's the sympathy? Where's the empathy? Where's the idea of, hey, maybe there's somebody who really is struggling with this, and rather than them going to their doctor and the doctor having to say, look, I can't do anything because, Nancy Mace passed an amendment and I can't do anything. Rather than that, how about if the doctor listened to that patient and said, okay, you know what? Let's get into this process. Let's see if this is really something you want to do. Let's get some other professionals involved and let's go down that path. Let the family make the decision with the person that wants to have that sex change operation. Same thing with, in the military. They already went after them. They already said, we're going to kick transgender people out of the military. Because why? Because they can't shoot guns? I mean, if you really want to be in the military, then you want to be in the military. I don't care if you're gay, straight, bi, transgender, not transgender, black, white, Asian. I don't care what you are. If you want to be in the military, you want to be in the military. And it takes a lot of work. And I'm sure there's a lot of great transgender soldiers that were in the military who were booted out because, Donald Trump doesn't like that because it's the culture war. That's the world that Nancy Mace wants to live in. To take away people that are trying to be patriotic, people that are trying to do the right thing, and tell them what they can and cannot do. This is right in line with the taking away of Roe versus Wade. They told women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. And now we've seen many, many, many instances of women who weren't able to get that care in their state and they had to travel elsewhere, or they died in the process because there was some sort of complication with the pregnancy and they couldn't get an abortion in the state because it was illegal, because the Nancy Maces of this world told them that they can't. And so similarly, we're going to have a lot of young people who want to go down this path. They want to consider this path. And we're going to tell them no because, well, Nancy Mace didn't want to. And that's going to lead to more mental health issues. The attacks on the LGBTQ community are ridiculous. These people saying, oh, conversion therapy. You can't, you're not gay. We're going to make you not gay. Don't worry about it. No, we're going to make you not gay. Oh, no, we're going to tell you what you want. How do you know what I want? It's just a constant attack on every minority community. And the reason is because they want to distract. Do you understand, folks? They want to distract. They don't want you asking about Epstein anymore. They don't want you asking about how rich they're getting while your 401k is not doing well. They don't want you to talk. They don't want you thinking about the fact that the tariffs are affecting your prices. We pay for the tariffs, but they don't want you to talk about that as they make out like bandits, as Donald Trump and his sons make billions of dollars off of some crazy crypto deal, as they get gifts from all over the world for bribery reasons. They don't want you to talk about those things. What they want you to talk about is the fact that somebody is transgender. That's what they want you to talk about, because that transgender person is coming after you. They're coming after you. Yes, they might show up and I don't know, be nice. I don't know. I'm guessing. What happened to Nancy Mace? I know that she's had sexual assault issues in the past where she, I guess when she was younger, something had happened to her. But you would think somebody like that would be sympathetic to others who feel like, hey, I'm not in the right place. Like I need acceptance. My mind tells me that I'm not in the. I want to get an operation. I want a sex change. You would think that they would be sympathetic to that. Somebody who's been a victim, you would think would be sympathetic, and yet she went the other way. She's flipped 180 degrees the other way, as has most of the Republican Party. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because there was a lack of love. I don't know. There's no sympathy. There's no empathy. They even said empathy. They don't like empathy. Who was it? One of these guys, J.D. Vance or somebody, said empathy is a bad word. I mean, is it really? I thought that's who we were. Americans were supposed to care for one another. And I guarantee you, if you sat down with most Americans one-on-one and explained to them, hey, this is not something that affects you. This is something where a young person might want to look at having an operation. This is something where someone who's transgender wants to serve in the military and help with the military. They're not a threat to the military. This is something where a transgender bathroom is something that gives them respect. Meanwhile, this lady is so insensitive. She's on the floor of the Congress, just throwing out slurs about the community because she's a bully. That's what bullies do. Bullies go after people that don't have a lot of power. And unfortunately, because they're a minority, the transgender community in America does not have a lot of power to fight these people. However, I believe that most people should support the transgender community. Most people should support people who, again, feel that they have body dysphoria and they want to talk to doctors and investigate. That's all it is. A little bit of sympathy, a little bit of care, a little bit of support for other people's human dignity. But Nancy Mace is not someone who wants anyone else to have dignity. She has no dignity herself, so she doesn't want you to have any dignity. Because these people are cruel. These people, they get off on this. These people are closed-minded. And why? A lot of times it goes because God told me, the Bible said it. You know the Bible, originally, a lot of the stuff that's in the Bible was more about older men with younger boys, basically, and that's where it was talking about. And then somewhere like in the 40s or the 50s, the conservatives got a hold of this whole anti-LGBTQ agenda, and they started to turn it into, homosexuality is a sin. The LGBTQ community are sinners. Transgender people are sinners. These people are sinners, sinners, sinners. What's it to you? How does it affect your life? Zero. Zip. Nada. So shut it, Mace. Shut it. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a page right here on YouTube. It's at Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. I post stand-up comedy. And listen, if you get on there, leave a comment. Let me know you came from Rebel HQ. And be kind.